Guys, good afternoon. How are you? Okay. So this is a section from official guide. Do you have official guide books? Can you respond? Aditya, Shantanu say yes. Sard says no. What about the others? Okay, will you take the screenshots for this section and quickly solve these questions? Those of you who have books, official guide, yeah, the page number is, I don't have the page. It is section, it is test one, practice test one, page number 467. Page number 467. Section 3. Those who don't have books, just take the screenshots and then work all the 25 questions of this section, and then we'll discuss. Okay? You exactly have 35 minutes to solve the questions. Okay? Yeah. If you have already done Akshat, just wait for this to get over. When I explain, you can understand the techniques. Okay? It's good that you have done it. Okay? You can just check the strategy and technique to solve the questions. Okay? So just wait. Yeah, these two. Sardh, I think you don't have the books. So those who do not have books, just take the screenshots of the questions. Okay, just say okay once you have taken it. Sardh. All right, now this one up to 9. Okay, up to 15. 18. 24. And there is one more question, last question, 25. Okay, so there are 25 questions. Now the time is 3:10. So you must do this section up to 3:45. Okay, 35 minutes only. So again, I'll start the discussion at 3:45. Is that clear? So please finish off working all the questions. Those who have done the questions also, just go through all the questions once. You can ask me doubts if you have any, or otherwise you can follow the discussion also. All right. Don't look at the answers. Just try to solve all the answers and then be ready with your answers. All right. Okay. If you have any questions, you just type in the chat box. So I'll again stop you at 3:45. Again, for those who have just joined, this is a section test completely. So which is a section from official guide, practice test 1, section 3. Solve that verbal questions, 25 questions in 35 minutes. We'll meet again at 3:45. Hello. Guys, are you there? Okay, shall we begin? Are you done with the test? Aditya, Sarang, yes. So let's begin. Look at the questions. So first we'll look at sentence correction, sentence completion. So look at this question number 5. In her later years, Bertha Peppenham was an apostle of noble but already dash notions. Noble is a positive word. Okay. But means you need a contrast here. So I need a negative word here. So what is the negative word in this one? The first three. A is the negative word. Accepted is positive. Exotic is also neutral word. Anachronistic is a positive word. Sorry, negative word. So this is our answer there. Always respected for her integrity, her energy, and her resolve, but increasingly out of step. So what is her negativity? Out of step. So out of step is matching with anachronistic. Here and is given. So and means again synonym of out of step. Must be taken here. So out of step is here alienated from. Okay. Question number 6. The reception given to Kimura's radical theory. So radical means which goes against the traditions. Okay. Shows that when dash fights orthodoxy to a draw. So what is fighting? So when you get these words like fight, odds, conflict, controversial, okay, so antithetical, these kinds of words indicate opposite. So what can fight with orthodoxy? Orthodox means traditional. So what is the opposite of traditional? Modern. So what is fighting with orthodoxy? That we need to take here. So when A fights with B, then A seizes. Novelty has seized a good chunk of space from convention. So convention is orthodoxy. Novelty is modernity. So we need a synonym of modernity or novelty, which is invention. All right. So everything will be in the sentence itself. Question number 7. The dash of Vladimir Nabokov as one of the North America's literary giants. So giants means he's saying something positive. So I need a positive word here describing him. This is a negative word. This is a negative word. Only positive is lionization. Has thrown the spotlight on his peripheral activities. So spotlight means something throwing light on somebody, and has thus served to dash his efforts as an amateur entomologist. So if you throw spotlight on somebody, what happens? He immediately comes into the limelight. So limelight means he will not be obscure, he will not transcend, he will come into the foreground. Foreground, background. Look at that. Okay. That's an easy one. This is very simple. 8th one. Mathematicians have a distinctive sense of beauty. So don't bring outside knowledge. Go with the sentences logic. So the sentence logic says that mathematicians have sense of beauty. They strive to present their ideas and results in a clear and compelling fashion, dictated by dash as well as by logic. Already he said sense of beauty. So what are they dictated by? Beauty and logic. So which word matches with beauty? Aesthetics. B is our answer. Aesthetics is study of beauty. Okay. 14. Question number 14. Unenlightened authoritarian managers rarely recognize a crucial reason for the low levels of serious conflict among members of democratically run work groups. Okay, so the dictatorial leaders, they don't understand why there is no conflict among democratically run work groups. And he is telling the secret why they have no conflict. So a modicum of tolerance for dissent. Tolerance for dissent is you are giving respect for the difference of opinion. So that's what democracy is all about. So a modicum of tolerance for dissent prevents what? Prevents already what word is mentioned in the prevents conflict. So if you respect the sentiments and opinions, differences of opinions of others, then it prevents conflict. So conflict means here definitely not cooperation or compliance or short-sightedness. So schism, by elimination also you can get that. Schism means split. Question number 15. The novelist devotes so much time to avid descriptions of his character's clothes that the reader soon feels that such dash concerns, although worthy of attention, have superseded any more directly literary aims. So what kind of concerns the novelist is showing? Already we know that he is devoting so much time to describe the character's clothes. So he is giving more importance to the clothes of a person. So we need the concerns about clothes. What do we call it as? So because he said they are worthy of attention, you cannot say that they are frivolous. They are not silly. They are not irrelevant. Okay. And because it is saying that he is devoting time for clothes, then you can't even say they are didactic. Didactic means pertaining to teaching, instructive. Syntactical means grammar. So even if you don't know the meaning of this word sartorial, which means Tailor-like, an adjective for tailors. Skills of related to tailoring. So sartorial concerns means clothes, related to clothes. Now they are not irrelevant because he said they are worthy of attention. Although worthy of attention means how can they be relevant? Nor are they frivolous. Frivolous means silly. So you can't take those two words there. Question number 16. Now this is an interesting question. Look at this. Belanger dances with a dash that draws one's attention as if by seeking to dash it. So it refers to attention. Okay, so how does he dance? What is the quality of his dance? That's what we have to find out. Through finesse and understatement, he manages to seem at once both intensely present and curiously detached. So here comes the quality of his dance, that he is present and absent at the same time. He is detached and present. So his interesting quality is he dances with absolute quality, and then he doesn't expose himself too much. He is an understatement. So does he draw attention? Yes, but how? He doesn't want to, he wants to draw attention, at the same time he doesn't want to draw attention. So that is the quality of his dance. He doesn't exhibit, he is intensely present, and at the same time curiously detached. So does he want to focus the attention and overwhelm the attention? No, he wants to deflect the attention. At the same time, how is he how is he dancing? He is dancing with a finesse, means good quality. So one positive, one negative word should be there. That is the oxymoron kind of. Okay. So unattractive gawkiness, this is completely negative. Unrestrained enthusiasm, this is completely positive. Undemonstrative panache. Panache is style. Undemonstrative is understatement. So both are present in this one. So this is double positive and it is matching with finesse and understatement. So A and F are the correct words. He deflects the attention and he also dances with finesse, absolute quality. Next, 3 blank question here. The most striking thing about the politician is how often his politics have been dash rather than ideological. So rather than ideological. So I need opposite of ideological. Ideological means theory. Theory opposite is practice. Practical. Practical cannot be quixotic because quixotic means idealistic. Self-righteous is also philosophical. Strategic means practical. As he adapts his political positions at any particular moment to the political realities that constrain him. He does not, however, piously dash political principles only to betray them in practice. So if he betrays them, does he follow them? No. And he said rather, again he is giving a contrast here, meaning contrast. Rather he attempts in subtle ways. So if he is attempting subtle ways, what does he not do? He doesn't show off. So showing off means brandishing. He does not brandish political principles. That means he doesn't show off. Because if you because anyway he betrays. Therefore, he doesn't show off. Rather, he attempts in subtle ways to balance his political self-interest with a dash, and dash after comma. I told you, you read the description and put the word related to it. Viewing himself as an instrument of some unchanging higher purpose. So higher purpose means as if he is born for higher purpose. So which word matches? Which word is strong enough to catch the meaning of higher purpose? Higher purpose means it cannot be pragmatism. It cannot be cynicism. It is deeply felt moral code because you are talking about the higher purpose here. So he has a purpose for that. All right. Yes. Whole paragraph says that the person is practical. But that particular area, what he said, that is important. How is he practical? He does not show his principles to betray them, and he balances his political interest. That means he acts pragmatically. He's practical. So he takes care of his political self-interest with a dash. That means simultaneously, though he's practical, he does it in such a way that it is not shown off to others. So which means he balances his political interest with what? With some moralities also. Okay. So that's what he said, viewing himself as an instrument of some unchanging higher purpose. Yeah. Next text completion questions here. 21st one. The plan which the engineer said would save the aquifer by reducing pumping to dash levels. So if it is saving, what kind of a plan it is? It is saving something. So by reducing pumping to dash levels, so what are the feasible, practicable is one pair. Innocuous, benign is one pair. What is feasible? Feasible, practicable means practicable for whom? But when you are saying it is saving something, so what kind of a plan it is? It is It is meant for saving something. So it is a very harmless plan. Okay. So the plan is reducing the pumping to harmless levels. Then only it can save, not feasible levels. Feasible for whom? Is it feasible for environmental groups or is it feasible for the government? So both has different feasible levels. So feasible is, a little ambiguous here, which is why we go with innocuous, harmless, benign, because only then you can save it. Okay. So remember the crucial point you should never miss. Next, look at this interesting one. Though feminist in its implications means not openly, it is not showing feminism, but implications by subtle means, it is showing that it is feministic in nature. What? The film, the 1974 Rian's film, dash the filmmaker's active involvement in feminist politics. Now, if the film, when it talks about time period in the sentence, remember the answers you take must be related to time. So here he said that 1974 film dash the active involvement. If it is by implications feministic film and it is taken in 1974, then does it precede or predate? This is one pair. You have to check the pairs. First pair them. Sorry. Antedate and precede is one pair. Portrayed and represented in is another pair. Now, if it is by implications feministic in nature, how does that film represent his active involvement in feminist politics? So it is actually coming before his active involvement in feminist politics. Okay. Therefore, it should be antedated and preceded. Okay. So his film, by implications, it is feministic and it preceded his active involvement. Next one. Congress is having great difficulty developing a consensus. Consensus means general agreement. So if they have difficulty to develop agreement, that means people are disagreeing. So there is a disagreement among the members. So various members are having what kind of assumptions? Different assumptions. So different means what? Here, commonplace trite is one pair. Divergent and disparate, this is another pair. So we need, because they have difficulty developing consensus, they have different assumptions. So B and C are the correct answers. Okay. Next one. '24. During the opera's most famous aria, the tempo chosen by the orchestra's conductor seemed dash. Dash after comma means you must read the description coming after that and put the word suitable to it without necessary relation to what had gone before. So that means whatever has gone before is not linked to the one that is coming afterwards. So A and B are totally different. Okay. So again, so whatever in this series, they are different. Okay. So let us see the options here. Arbitrary, capricious means random. That means they are randomly without any system. There is no method, unsystematic. Then you have exacting and meticulous. This is another pair. Because he said without necessary relation to what had gone before, you cannot take this pair because they are not perfectly related. So arbitrary, capricious is the pair here. Because they are randomly coming without any link, no system, no method followed there. Okay. Now look at this one. Because they had expected because means that is he's stating the reason. Because they had expected the spacecraft Voyager 2 to be able to gather data only about the planets Jupiter and Saturn, scientists were dashed the wealth of information it sent back from Neptune 12 years after leaving the Earth. So they sent for one task, but it has done 2-3 tasks. Then how does scientists feel? Now we have here feelings. Thrilled about and elated by means they are very happy about it. Keen and eager. Okay. Now they have already sent it. Why would they be eager? They already received the information also. Now they won't be eager about the wealth of information. So already it sent it. If they are waiting for it, they'll be eager. But it sent the wealth of information. They sent back. So about that, they are thrilled about it. So thrilled and elated is the correct word here. Okay. So pairing the words that we learned in the class in the beginning. So pairing the words is very important, and quickly you have to pair them and then read the questions, and suddenly you will find that one of those two pairs will fit into that blank. You should quickly do that. Okay. Now let us look at this particular 18 to 20 passage. So most of the passages will be of this length on GRE. So you should very quickly read it and then go to the question. The condition of scholarship. Scholarship means here in the context, it is about the attention given by the scholars. The condition of scholarship devoted to the history of women in photography is confounding. Confounding means confusing. So this is talking something negative about the scholars' attitude towards the position of women in the history. Recent years have witnessed the posthumous inflation of the role of hobbyist Alice Austen into that of a pioneering documentarian, while dozens of notable senior figures, Marion Pulfy, I mean, when you have two dashes, that means he's giving extra information. So who are those notable senior figures? He is giving one example, Marion Pulfy. So the hobby photographer Alice Austen has been rated as pioneering documentarian, whereas very important senior figures like Marion Pulfy received scant attention from scholars. So this particular sentence is clearly explaining to us why the condition of scholarship is so confounding and confusing. And means he is trying to give us another point. While Naomi Rosenberg's Synoptic History of Women Photographers, so this is the name of the book, covers the subject through 1920 in a generally useful fashion. She wrote some of the aspects very usefully. Once she reaches the 1920s, when the venues, forms, applications, and movements of the medium expanded exponentially, she resorts to an increasingly terse listing of unfamiliar names with approaches and careers summarized in a sentence or two. So that means when actually she has to write something important during the important period where many changes happened, she actually wrote very, very less. So such is the kind of confusing, attention of the scholars given to the women photographers, women in photography. Okay. Now he did not mention any reasons, but he just said that it is very confounding. Okay. Now let us go to the questions to see what he is asking. So the question number 1 type, these are very, very common type of questions asked on the exam. In order to means he is asking us the role of something. The author of the passage cites Rosenbaum's book, most likely in order to. So why did he mention that book here? What is the, I mean, you have to see the larger picture. So in what context he mentioned it? So you look at this word and here. You know very clearly why he mentioned and. So he mentioned about Marion Palfy as one example of the photographer's situation, taken up by the scholars is very confusing. To explain that, he has taken example of Marion Palfy, and then he has taken example of Naomi Rosenbaum's book. So why did he take Rosenbaum's book here? He is giving example of how the situation of scholars is very confusing about women photographers. So to explain that, he has taken the example of this book. So you must look for such kind of an answer here. So first, what will attract you is this kind of lead words in the beginning. So you must check for them. So it says provide an example, but you must read this part also. If it is convincing, then you can take it. Is it convincing? Check it. Provide an example of a way in which scholarship on the history of women in photography has been unsatisfactory. Yes. Now, whatever I thought, I can see one answer which is talking about it. Okay. Now, this seems to be okay. So that should be your approach towards the questions. Okay. So read the question carefully. What exactly it is asking. If you get this kind of questions, in order to you understand the larger picture in the passage, then only you will be able to tell why a particular information is presented in the passage. Okay. Next one. '18 and then 19th question. Look at this. Which of the following statements about Marion Palfy is supported by the passage? Now let us look at it. So we read already. We know that she is a very notable figure, but her importance has not been so much presented in by the scholars. That's what you have to tell. Marion Palfy's photographs would have received greater recognition from historians had her work been done in an era when most aspects of photography were static rather than in a state of transition. So this part is not mentioned there. This is not true. Passage doesn't support this because this doesn't talk about technical details of photography. So static, transition and all that. Then B says Alice Austin has achieved greater notoriety. Is she notorious? She's famous. Notorious is different from notable. Notable means famous. Notorious means badly famous. So this itself makes it wrong answer. Then C says, in addition to providing a record of certain historical events, Marion Palfy's photographs played a role in subsequent events. Now it is clearly given here that her photos actually helped photographers of civil rights activities, served as early evidence of the need for protective legislation, to name one. To name one means that is only one of her achievements. So there are many other achievements also by her photographs. So here he mentioned C option is the correct one. Other two are not correct. Okay. Then question number 20. In the context in which it appears, inflation most nearly means. We know the normal meaning of inflation in economics. We know it as a word which is related to an upswing in the prices. Okay. Or there is a lot of flow of money into the market, but the prices are very, very high. That's what you call inflation. But in this context, is it the same? We have to check. So where is this word used, inflation? This is also another common type of question. You will get one question, at least in 2 sections put together, you will get at least one question of this type, asking for the meaning of the word. Now, when you see this, he said inflation here. So understand the context in which it is said. The first statement is talking about the scholarship devoted for the women in photography is confounding. And then he says how it is confounding by taking example of Alice Austin's posthumous inflation of the role of hobbyist Alice Austin into that of a pioneering documentarian. That means her role as a hobbyist, she is a hobbyist. As a hobbyist, she need not be inflated in her role. So her role is exaggerated. Here inflated means, here inflation means exaggeration of the role. So hobbyist's role is exaggerated, whereas serious photographer's role is downplayed. That's the confounding nature of the scholarship devoted to the history of women in photography. So obviously that is the meaning is understood here that inflation means it is about bloating. It is about exaggeration. So option A is correct in this case. So these kinds of secondary meanings are very important, especially when you are looking for word meaning inside the passage. So this is one passage. Now let's go to the reading. This one he says, this is a critical reasoning question, 13th one. Okay, now look at this question. In the past 10 years, there have been several improvements in mountain climbing equipment. These improvements have made the sport both safer and more enjoyable for experienced climbers. Despite these improvements, however, the rate of mountain climbing injuries has doubled in the past 10 years. So this is a paradox question. So you can see the question asking reconciles, which of the following, if true, best reconciles the apparent discrepancy presented in the passage. The meaning of discrepancy means conflict. So what is the paradox here? The paradox is, on the one hand, this argument is saying that there are several improvements in the mountain climbing equipment. On the other hand, at the same time, he is saying that the sport has become more safer. But even though it has become more safe, the injuries have doubled. So this is a puzzling thing, is it not? So you have to explain it, why it is happening this way. Even though the equipment has become safer, why is that the injuries have doubled? So give one reason. So you can now read all the answers. You will find somewhere some satisfactory explanation for this. So if you look at option A, it says, many climbers, lulled into a false sense of security, use the new equipment to attempt climbing feats of which they are not capable. So if they are doing risky things, assuming that they will be safe, then it will not, it will lead to more injuries, right? So A answer is giving why even after using safe equipment, these climbers injuries are doubled. Okay. So A option gives the reason. Let us see B. Some mountain climbing injuries are caused by unforeseeable weather conditions. This does not explain the safety of the equipment. So why, even after having the safety of equipment, why have the injuries doubled? That is the question. So this answer is only explaining why the injuries might have increased. So you should always resolve the paradox on both sides of the paradox, not just one side of it. C is actually mountain climbing, although a dangerous sport, does not normally result in injury to the experienced climber. This is not resolving the conflict. It is actually not doing anything at all. In the past 10 years, there have been improvements in mountain climbing techniques as well as in mountain climbing equipment. Then why are the injuries increasing? It is not explained. Although the rate of mountain climbing injuries has increased, the rate of mountain climbing deaths has not changed. So he is also not giving here any reason for the discrepancy in the injuries. Okay, so that way this doesn't satisfactorily explain it. So option A gives the correct answer. All right, guys. Now that is a critical reasoning question. You will get one question out of 2 sections in this reading in this critical reasoning. Now let's look at the bigger passage. Another small one is here, I think in the first beginning. Okay, second one. Now this one, look at this boldface question. Right. At a certain period in Earth's history, its atmosphere contained almost no oxygen, although plants were producing vast quantities of oxygen. As a way of reconciling these two facts, okay, so atmosphere has no oxygen, even though plants are producing lots of oxygen. So that is a paradox. So as a way of reconciling these two facts, scientists have hypothesized. That means scientists started giving explanation for this, that nearly all of the oxygen being produced was taken up by iron on Earth's surface. Clearly, however, this explanation is inadequate. So he is concluding. So this statement highlighted thing is the conclusion, because he is actually saying that this is not sufficient, this is inadequate. Why? He is giving evidence now. New studies show that the amount of iron on Earth's surface was not sufficient to absorb anywhere near as much oxygen as was being produced. Therefore, something in addition to the iron on Earth's surface must have absorbed much of the oxygen produced by plant life. So this is the passage. Now we have to tell the role of those two boldface statements. So what is the first one? First is a claim, yes, maybe, made by the argument in support of a certain position. The second is that position. Second is not the position. You know what position means. Position is a conclusion. Is the second boldface conclusion? Because it is talking about the evidence by the studies. So second one cannot be the position. Second one is evidence. So on that basis, you can rule out first answer. Then B option is saying the first is a judgment made by the argument about a certain explanation. Yes. The second is that explanation. Now, the explanation for which he said inadequate is not the second one. It is the first one. Whatever scientists have hypothesized, That is the hypothesis. He said that this explanation is inadequate, not the second one, second highlighted one. So this the option B is saying second is that explanation. That explanation means the explanation about which the this judgment is made. Is it this one about which the judgment is made? No. Which explanation is inadequate? This explanation. So saying that this is that explanation is not correct. The first expresses the argument's dismissal of an objection to the position. Here it says second is the position. Second is not the position. Here also second says it's a position. So option D is correct. The first sums up the argument's position. This is the position. This is the conclusion of the argument. With regard to a certain hypothesis, yes. The second provides grounds for that position. Grounds means reasons. This is the grounds or reasons or evidence, whatever you call. The second one is the evidence for the position that is taken here. Why is it inadequate is explained with the second boldface. Okay. So this kind of highlighted texts will normally be given in the questions. You have to address them. All right. So that is boldface question. Now the first one passage. Whether the languages of the ancient American peoples were used for expressing abstract universal concepts can be clearly answered in the case of Nahuatl. Okay, so there were ancient American peoples. They use some languages, but whether the language is used for using abstract universal concepts can be answered in case of Nahuatl. Nahuatl is a language. Nahuatl, like Greek and German, is a language that allows the formation of extensive compounds. By the combination of radicals or semantic elements, single compound words can express complex conceptual relations, often of an abstract universal character. The Tlamithinim, that means some people who used a language, Tlamithinim, were able to use this rich stock of abstract terms to express the nuances of their thought. They also availed themselves of other forms of expression with metaphorical meaning, some probably original, some derived from Toltec coinages. Of these forms, the most characteristic in Nahuatl is the juxtaposition of two words that, because they are synonymous, associated terms, or even contraries, complement each other to evoke one single idea. Used metaphorically, the juxtaposed terms connote specific or essential traits of the being they refer to, introducing a mode of poetry as an almost habitual form of expression. After reading this, come to the questions. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage regarding present-day research relating to Nahuatl? So you cannot find anything about the research done by the present day about the Nahuatl, but you have to infer from the given information. So what can you infer about present-day research? Okay, so let us look at this. Now, if you can't find the location of this, then you should go testing each and every answer. So you have the answers here. Option is options. Some record or evidence of the thought of Tlamithinim is available. Now, is there any record or evidence of the thought of Tlamithinim? Let us see. The first sentence of second paragraph says that Tlamithinim is used to express the nuances of their thought. So obviously thoughts are revealed, is it not, from the language? So there should be some record, otherwise they can't say. Okay, so A is the correct one. Then let us look at B. For at least some Nahuatl expressions, researchers are able to trace their derivation from another ancient American language. Now the very next sentence after the second first sentence, he said they also availed themselves of other forms of expression, some probably original, some derived from Toltec coinages. So that means some of them are derived from other languages is also correct. So A and B are correct so far. Now let us look at C option. Researchers believe that in Nahuatl, abstract universal concepts are always expressed metaphorically. Now, here he said, metaphorical is given here. in the second para. But he did not mention whether it metaphorically used, whether they represent abstract universal character or not. Complexity, okay. But we don't have any reference to metaphorical things being used for abstract universal character. Okay, so that's not correct. So A and B are correct in this case. Second question. Select the sentence in the passage in which the author introduces a specific Nahuatl mode of expression that is not identified as being shared with certain European languages. So what is the characteristic of Nahuatl language? When you read the question, you should be clear. Then only you will be easily able to identify it. He is asking us to find out one characteristic of Nahuatl language, which is not shared by any other language. That means it should be unique to it. So which sentence talks about that? So if you go to the second para, third sentence after coinages, it says the most characteristic in Nahuatl. So most characteristic is the word which is matching with what is asked here in the question, which is not shared with certain European languages. That means something which is exclusively for Nahuatl. So that words are represented here, most characteristic. So if you click on that sentence, that is the correct sentence. Then word meaning in the context. The context in which it appears, coinages most nearly means. Coin means what? Is it currency? So normal meaning is coin, means currency. But in this case, are we referring to coinage as currency? Let us look at this. In the context, where did he say? Toltec coinages. So he is talking about some of the words which are derived from other expressions from other language. So obviously coinages here means the words from other languages. Okay. So Toltec words are not adaptations. Nahuatl words are adaptations. So adaptation is a misleading answer here. So adaptation means something adapted from other things. So what is adapted? Is Toltec adapted or Nahuatl adapted? It is actually Nahuatl which is adapted. But in the context, he has given that Toltec coinages. That means the words that are coined in Toltec language. So coin means to create something. So creations is the correct word. So we coined a new term. So that's a new term, new terminology. You call it as creations. Okay, creations or new, inventions, something. Idiosyncrasy means peculiarity. Currency means it's a coin. Coin is a currency. So that is a literal meaning of it. Okay, when you talk in terms of revenues and all. So you have to go by the kind of, the clues given in the paragraphs here and there, how they are connected one paragraph to the other. So mostly around those things, most of the questions are asked. You don't have to break your brains to find the answers. All you have to do is read the question carefully, understand the basic elements which are required to connect different sentences and different points. Pay attention to the modifiers at the beginning of the sentences. So most of the times you will get the answer very quickly. Quickness is very important on this exam. So this is again a big one, but try to read it. This is talking about what? Animal signals, such as the complex songs of birds, tend to be costly. So what is this costly means? Is it money? Which cost is he talking about? Why is the songs of birds costly? Animal signals such as songs of birds are costly. A bird by singing may forfeit time that could otherwise be spent on other important behaviors such as foraging or resting. Singing may also advertise an individual's location to rivals or predators and impair the ability to detect their approach. Although these types of cost, so what does he mean by cost here? The losses, the disadvantages are mentioned as costs. So although these types of costs may be important, discussions of the cost of singing have generally focused on energy costs. So which costs are more important above all? Energy costs. Overall, the evidence is equivocal. Equivocal means not perfect. So it is it is not complete. It is incomplete. For instance, while Eberhard found increases in energy consumption during singing for Carolina wrens, Chappell found no effect of crowing on energy consumption in roosters. So he's giving examples of birds which has literally no energy differences, and some of them have maximum energy consumptions. So which is why songs does not always involve consumption of energy. That is what he means to say when he said equivocal. So such words are also important in terms of finding out the correct information, correct essence of the passage. To obtain empirical data regarding the energy costs of singing. Empirical data means experimental data. So this is talking about the experiment conducted by somebody to get the clear picture from the field. Okay. Hello. Okay. So the second para is talking about the experiment conducted by Thomas. Okay. What did he do? He examined some relationship between song rate and overnight changes in body mass of male nightingales. Birds store energy as subcutaneous fat deposits or body reserves. Changes in these reserves can be reliably estimated by measuring changes in body mass. If singing has important energy cost, nightingales should lose more body mass on nights when their song rate is high. Thomas found that nightingales reached a significantly higher body mass at dusk and lose more mass overnight on nights when their song rate was high. So this is talking about an example to prove the point that energy costs are actually there in the birds. Okay. And third paragraph is talking about the inferences he derived from those results. These results suggest that there may be several costs of singing at night associated with body reserves. So on and so forth is mentioned here. Finally, you read the conclusion. So unless there is a question, you know that now here they are talking about energy costs. They're talking about different experiments done by this, and the results came out. And then they are inferring from the results. Finally, Thomas' data therefore show that whether or not singing as such has an important metabolic cost, metabolic costs associated with singing can have an important measurable effect on a bird's daily energy budget, at least in birds with high song rates such as nightingales. So that is the conclusion drawn. What is the primary purpose of the passage? Compare different types of costs involved in certain birds in singing. It's not the major concern, because other costs are not mentioned at all. Second one is question a hypothesis regarding the energy costs. He's not questioning anything. C is saying present evidence suggesting that singing has an important energy cost for certain birds. This is okay. D says discuss the benefits provided to an organism by a behavior that is costly in energy. He's not talking about behavior. Describe an experiment that supports an alternative model of how birdsong functions. Yes, there is a mention of experiment, but it is not about how birdsong functions. It is talking about the energy costs. So beware of such usage of words. Okay. Now 10th one says the passage implies that during the day before a night on which male nightingale song rate is high, that nightingale probably does which are the following. The implication is something you draw from the information given. Before a night on which the male nightingale song rate is high, what does a nightingale do? Expends less of its reserves on thermoregulation than on other days. Is it true? Thermoregulation, do we know anything about that? No. Stores more energy as body reserves than on other days. Yes, because he said that it stores, deposits fat by the dusk, accumulates mass, and then it spends them by the dawn, okay, overnight. Hides to avoid predators. No, it actually announces its presence. Okay, so B is the correct answer. Next one. Select the sentence in the first or second paragraph that presents empirical results in support of a hypothesis about the energy cost of singing. So he is clearly defining in which paragraph the sentence is, first or second one, and which is giving you the empirical results in support of a hypothesis. So which sentence is that which is announcing the results? Actually, in the second paragraph, Thomas examined means he is talking about the experiment done. Thomas found that means that is announcing the results. So the sentence examined is about the experiment done. Thomas found means it is talking about the results, what he found. Okay, so that is the sentence you have to click on. And the last one, it can be inferred from the passage that compared with other costs of singing, which of the following is true of the energy costs of singing. So you have to select one or more than one answers also. So whenever you have three options, you have to select at least one, which means it can be more than one also. Okay. So where is the mention of other costs of singing? What did he say there? So you can see it in the very first paragraph he mentioned. So what did he say? If you read it, you will get an idea. For example, here he said that although these types of costs may be important, discussions of the cost of singing have generally focused on energy costs. So that means more importance is given for energy costs. Okay, now let us come back to the answers. So that's what we understood from that sentence, right? Now come back and select an answer. They are the single greatest cost to the individual bird. No. Okay, greatest we don't know, but they are important, we know it. They have generally received more attention from the scientists. This is also fine because discussions are focused on that. Okay, second one is fine. Third one says they vary less from one bird species to another. Now, if you look at the information here, is the singing cost varying from one bird species to the other? Last part of the first paragraph says the evidence is equivocal. While some of the birds have increases in energy consumption during singing, Chappell found no effect of crowing on energy consumption. So that means some birds there is a lot of energy consumption. Some birds have no consumption of energy at all, which means there is a lot of variation. But here, what did he say? The variation is very less. Actually, the variation is more. This is an opposite answer. So you can't take C also. So this comparison word greatest is something which is very common in the option choices given. Comparison means you have to focus on that. Greatest, greater than, whether comparison is made or not, you must check. There is no comparison made. He only said that it is important. He didn't say that the greatest increase happens here. So that those kinds of words you have to focus when you are getting to the answers. Okay. So option B is correct in this case. Okay. All right. So that's all. And let us not waste time, and let me announce you this thing. When you are coming to the next class, we have a sectional discussion in the next class also. In the next class, I want you to, I don't want to waste time. So take it as a homework, all of you, and you announce it in the group, Shantanu. Please announce it in the group that for the next class, they have to do this homework. Sectional test, the next sectional test after this. This is Section 3, right? Section 1. Sorry, section 3. So next verbal reasoning section is section 4. Okay. So I want you to solve all the questions of sectional test 4 and be ready when I am discussing that, because you'll find it easy to follow me once you do this homework. So I will teach you techniques. I am not here. I am not anymore teaching you the meaning of the words, etc., etc. I am quickly going to the technique. Okay. So now you are experts at the subject. So I only take very less time in explaining you how you should get the answer quickly, because that's what is required on the exam. So let us not waste time in solving the questions in the class. Please solve the questions at home, and you can do this section 4 as homework for the next class. We'll discuss this the moment we start the class. All right. That's all for today, and take care. Bye-bye. If you have any questions, you can just post if you have any questions. Otherwise, we are done.